Hey everybody, in today's episode, it's myself and Benjamin B. We're talking about goal setting and how to play the mental game. In early recovery, mental health is rather important. Goal setting is rather important. We got this topic from somebody that posted this question in our Facebook group, the Sobriety Network. So we go from our perspectives, how we handle goal setting, why it's important, and but ultimately why it's important to keep sobriety first and foremost in terms of goals. We talk about tactics that we utilize to keep our mental health at bay and so much more. So we know you're going to love this. Enjoy the show. Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I am your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Benjamin B.
What's happening, everyone?
First things first, thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use, and thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com, and ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message, right, Ben?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I cannot complain. I'm feeling good today.
Had a good night last night. Last night was a good night. I'm not even going to say why. It's just a good night. I'm in here. I'm energized. I feel like we're doing well.
I don't know what to say right now, Tom. I agree.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Wanted to get into this. I got our topic for today from our Facebook group. If you haven't joined yet, go to Facebook, type in the Sobriety Network, and you can join us there. And what we do is we pull topics from there sometimes because there's a post that what are some topics for the podcast you all want to hear us discuss. And so we'll pull from that, and we're going to be recording on those more frequently. And Jacob posted a question in here. He wants to know ways to win the daily mental game and stay focused on goals. Now, I assume Jacob T., I won't use your last name, but I assume this is ways to win the daily mental game and stay focused on goals while possibly in early sobriety or in sobriety.
Is that my Jacob T?
I don't know.
Let me see. Oh, no, that's a different Jacob T.
Yeah, different Jacob T. I think I know the Jacob you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Is his last initial T?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Different Jacob T. So this is something that we talk about rather often. We don't talk about this enough on the podcast, I don't think. But I know I do with our clients when, I'm running group with them or just having basic overall conversation with them. I think that goals are extremely important. Now, the problem is when it comes to goal setting with people that are in sobriety, sometimes that forces them to take their eye off the ball. And they get these big outlandish goals in mind, and ultimately what ends up happening is they put all their efforts towards achieving those goals and forget about the whole sobriety piece. And it's a very interesting thing when you see this taking place, because somebody could have all the best intentions in the world of getting sober, but then literally the flip of a switch, maybe a different job opportunity comes, and their goal, and everybody's goal, one of their goals is to make more money. And then this job opportunity comes. And rather than maybe foregoing that job opportunity because it's not going to be conducive to their sobriety, because the end goal is to make more money, they end up taking that job. And that's a very basic but very practical example, because we see that all the time.
Well, it's funny. I just hung up with an individual that I've been very involved with for a couple of years. This individual has had a very hard time stopping drinking, staying stopped. At one point, almost had a year. But just to kind of further elaborate on your example, you're right. It takes people's eyes off the prize. In particular, we see this one quite often. Car dealerships tend to be very, I don't know, what's the word? Attractive to people in early recovery, because let's call it what it is. You could probably make a decent living selling cars.
Yeah.
The part that people don't realize, the reason I hate people going to car dealerships when in early recovery is because I don't know a car dealership where you don't work 6, maybe 7 days a week. All day, every day. You have no life. You literally have no time to do anything else. Like, I hope you really like selling cars that much. But every single person that I have ever known to work at a car dealership in early recovery has gone back out.
Yeah.
But the money, they see, oh, well, if I just get that money, then I can buy this. And once I have my apartment and my car, then life will be good and I have no reason to drink again. But that is not the case. The gentleman that I'm referring to specifically attained a new car, attained an apartment, and was calling me on a daily basis. He's my sponsor. Call me on a daily basis like, I'm absolutely miserable. I have no time to go to meetings. I can't meet up with you. I haven't been to the gym in 6 months. I'm like, and he drank again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a time and place. I sold cars myself for 3 years and I did well. But it's not a sober man's game for the most part.
No.
There are sober people that do it and but especially if you have a family, like there's no time for family. You're working 6, maybe 7 days a week. You're definitely working 6 days a week. And 8, 10, 12-hour days. And then what happens, and then we'll get away from the car dealership stuff, but if you get a lead, or what we would call it an up, say the dealership on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the dealership would close at 9:00 at night. Well, you get somebody strolling the lot at 8:30. You go out, you meet this person. Now you're walking the lot with them. You're showing them different cars. You're trying to figure out what car it is that they want. It could be 9:30, 10:00 before you even start working a deal. I mean, there were days where I go in at 9:00 in the morning and I don't get out of there till 11, 12:00 at night. But you have to make the sale. If you don't make the sale, car salesmen are disposable. It's a strictly commission job. They pay you a little base, salary, but you have to pay that salary back, and anything over and above that you get in commissions. It could be very lucrative, and I know people that do very well at it and live very good lives, but it's not an early sobriety job. But that is in line with keeping the money as the goal.
So, and I want to touch on, this is kind of I feel like up your alley, Tom, where this is more your language. You've always been, when Tom does groups, they're very practical, logical, and you do a lot of like life skill stuff. I don't know that you do that intentionally, but I feel like that's your like forte. To Jacob's question, how do you stay focused on the goals?
Yeah.
I want to make sure on the front end, and you'll agree with this, and we can break this down further too, because I see this mistake all the time. Is your goal attainable? Is it what we refer to as a SMART goal? I'll reference SMART recovery really quick, which stands for self-management and recovery training. It's SMART recovery is like I don't even want to call it an offshoot of 12-step stuff, but it's another self-help group, if you will.
Yeah.
But specifically within SMART recovery, they have what are called SMART goals. And this has been utilized in other training and leadership platforms all over. But a SMART goal would break down the goal as follows: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Is your goal, Jacob, in this case, even something that meets all that criteria? Do you have a specific goal in mind? How do you measure whether or not you're moving towards it or not? Is it definitely attainable, or is it so far-fetched? Like, if I'm in treatment, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get a job with Elon Musk tomorrow. Like, probably not happening.
Yeah. Realistic,
along the same lines, and timely. Like, what sort of time frame can I do this in? Is this something that I'm going to be able to get in tomorrow? Is this something I'm going to be able to get 5 years from now after I go to school, or whatever the case is? So, SMART goals, like, ask yourself, are you even setting goals that meet that criteria? Because to break it down very easily, what I'll tell people, like, clients will come to me and they'll be like, well, my goal this week is to get a job. I'm like, okay, you established you want to do that within the week. What kind of job? Where at? How are you going to do that? And again, this comes back to, like, I always reference this with recovery. Like, we can't attach ourselves to the outcome, but do you have a plan in place to meet your goal? For instance, I don't want to hear from our clients, my goal is to get a job. What I want to hear from them is, every day this week, Monday through Friday, I'm going to walk in to 5 different job opportunities, ask for the manager, fill out an application if they're hiring, and then I'm going to follow up if that is the case. And if I do 5 a day, Monday through Friday, that's 25. That's specific. I'm walking into these stores. It's measurable. I can hit 25 by the end of the week. It's attainable. It's within walking distance, or Uber, or I have a car here. Realistic, yes, it's within something I can do. And it's something that I can do today because I'm now in intensive outpatient level of care. I can do it after group. I got all afternoon. See what I'm saying? Like, the generic, oh, I'm going to get a job this week. Oh, yeah? How you doing that?
Right.
I don't just leave them, like, let them get away with that. Because when I've learned that when I do, the next week we're having the same conversation. I'm going to get a job this week. Then the next week, I'm going to get a job this week. Dude, what happened? You didn't have a smart goal.
Or you're just plain lazy and they tell us what we want to hear.
That too. Yeah, I mean, I'll be straight up with you. I see
That's
that.
probably more than see that more than we do unrealistic goals. I mean, it's so getting back to what you were saying, yes, I am more practical in a sense. And the reason is because if I look at my own recovery, the way that it played out for me was a very practical approach. You know, I've met people that are Uber, big buck, and eat, sleep, and breathe AA. Everything that they do revolves around their sobriety. And in the beginning, for me, that was the case. You know, I lived in sober living, obviously surrounded myself with sober men, worked the steps, had service commitments, took guys through steps. But there was a time when that started to switch a little bit. And AA gave me, what's that saying? AA gave me my life, or I don't know how that saying goes, but
don't let AA give you a life that'll take you out of AA. I've heard all kinds of twists and turns on
yeah,
it.
but when things for me, I'll be honest, the steps for me, it was cool. It was good. I'm glad I did them. It was very revealing. But I didn't have this, like, you know, burning bush moment or this, oh my gosh, complete revelation. Like, that wasn't my experience. When I really started to understand this whole sobriety thing was when I started to achieve goals and I started to attain things for myself. That's why I'm a big proponent in the beginning of materialistic things. I do think that being able to buy a vehicle or get a bicycle or go out to eat or, you know, blow money on whatever it is that you want to blow money on in the beginning, I think is good because it kind of gives us that fuel to keep our sobriety. Now, at some point that has to switch and it's less about the materialistic things and it's more about spiritual, mental, emotional side of sobriety. But that's why I like to keep it practical with anybody that I interact with, that, like, I want you to go out and get these jobs and hit these goals, but we have to do it in a way that keeps our sobriety at the forefront and not put ourselves in a position to where we kind of forget about the sobriety, because the saying goes, anything you put ahead of your sobriety, you're going to lose. And we see that day in and day out, you know? So the practical approach, I think, in my experience, is the best approach, and it's the most palatable for people. If I come at somebody with a big book, and, you know, and there are people out there that will receive it. I wasn't that person. You know, you start spitting big book lines at me left and right, and, like, I wouldn't have worked well with... No, I would have worked well with Eric, but, like, there are people out there that I just wouldn't work well with, you know? I wanted to see tangible results. I wanted to see practicality. I wanted to see how it played out in your life. And then I kind of developed my goals and stuff around that. And the first goal for me in my sobriety literally was to get a bicycle. And I got a bicycle.
Mine too.
And the damn thing got stolen.
Mine too.
And then I got another one, and that got stolen.
I had 2 stolen, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got a scooter.
I skipped scooter.
Yeah, I got a scooter, and then I sold my scooter and got a 2000 or 1999 Dodge Neon that blew blue smoke out the back. But you know what? That car was like gold to me. And growing up, I had brand new cars. Like, I got sober at 26. So the 10 years of my driving, I always had brand new cars because I worked at a car dealership, you know, all the things.
All the things.
But that Dodge Neon for me was mine.
Well, that goes back to you earned it too. Because like I 100% agree with everything that Tom said with the material. I think that anybody that preaches from the hilltop, oh, only my sobriety matters and the love in my heart, and like that's always coming from the person that has the nice car in the parking lot. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, and I get what people are saying. They're good intentioned, but it's hard for me to say that, like, if someone's struggling where they have no money, no resources, like, we gotta be realistic, man. Like, it's a hard place to get motivated from if you've got nothing on the material side going for you. However, on the other end of that, being realistic, like, I love how Tom brought up his goal was get a bicycle and then a Dodge Neon that blew blue smoke out the back. Because what we did see here one time, you'll remember this. I won't say the young lady's name, but remember she went and she was working at a tanning salon. Dude, I don't even think making $10 an hour at the time, and went and got herself a car loan, bought a car, and between the car payment and her insurance for it, she was like $800 deep a month, and she was probably making
900.
Yeah, dude. And we were like, what did you do? You know, like, it was a really nice car, but was that realistic for where she was at?
No, it wasn't. And that goes back to her goal was to get a car, and she got the car, but the car got her.
Yeah.
Realistically, I mean, that's just the way that it worked out. But I wanted to spend a few more minutes on giving what do you have in the book?
So also the big book, the first thing that I hear, the concern was focusing on goals, getting through the day. I'm huge on inventory. 12 steps is constantly telling us to take inventory. Now, I'm a step 11 guy, which is prayer. However,
we'll read step 11.
The big book does not decipher prayer like most people think. It's not like getting on your knees and saying the Lord's Prayer or the Serenity Prayer. It's actually taking inventory. Step 11 suggests prayer meditation. We shouldn't be shy on the matter of prayer. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. So this is on page 86 of the big book. I'm going to skip to the On Awakening one. I'm a big fan of when we retire at night. You're supposed to take an inventory in the morning and an inventory at night that they refer to as prayer, but it's a personal inventory about your behavior and your motives. It's not your typical prayer that one would think of like in a church setting. That's what I love about the big book. It's palatable for people that are having a hard time with the higher power God thing. But this one specifically, On Awakening, I want to focus on because his question was about goals. So it says, on awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. So you're making a plan for the day. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pause each sentence probably and give a little rundown. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Very easy example. Am I waking up in the morning in my halfway house bed and saying, you know, man, today I'm going to get up early, go for a walk, pray and meditate. I'm going to go to my job at Domino's. I'm going to hit the 7 o'clock meeting when I get off of work. And maybe get a bite to eat afterwards with some people in the fellowship? Or am I making plans to go to the strip club? And that's all I care about tonight, right? Like, keep, again, aligning your goals in the morning. The big book gives you a great, format to do this. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. Bro, I want to touch on that for a second. I forgot that this part was in here, like that this would be relevant. God gave us brains to use. So many people are under the impression that when you come into a 12-step program or treatment. Now, don't get me wrong. Early recovery, just do what people tell you to do. However, as you get sober, like, you're learning how to use your brain properly. It's not like people are going to be there to have to run your life for the rest of your life. What we're training you to do is to do your own thinking and make your own plans and set your own goals. In the beginning, yes. Do you need to be told what to do? Sure. But if you leave a treatment center or you've been through your steps and you still need someone to tell you what to do on every single thought, you missed something along the way. I bet you could harp on that one, Tom.
I can. That's how I was keeping my mouth shut.
I only got one more sentence. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is clear of wrong motives. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, intuitive thought, or decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle, but I'll read this last line. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we had tried this for a while. So it's making sure you're taking time upon awakening to plan out your day. Like, people don't do that and they expect to meet their goals.
Right. What page is that on?
86.
Jacob, so, it's hard for us to answer this question not knowing anything about you. We don't know how long you've been sober. I'm going to assume that you're somewhere in the 1 to 0 to, or how would I word this? You're within a year of sobriety. I don't know. Maybe you have 10 years of sobriety, but whether you have 1 year, 1 day, 10 years, reference page 86. I think I love that. It's practical, everybody just because, and here's the thing, because somebody will read that out of the big book or they will hear that out of the big book. Some people will shun it. Oh, that's out of the big book.
That's why I touched on, for people that struggle with the God thing, the big book, especially this prayer part, is not telling you to get on your knees and pray to and say God, Allah, Buddha. No, it literally says, on awakening, let us think about. It doesn't open with any Shakespearean poetry of a prayer.
Right.
And something else I want to point out, Tom, I might as well, because the thought's coming to me now, where this is how you set your goals in the morning. It just told us. Here's the cool part about this page too. And this is page 86. This is the part that I favor. It's when we retire at night. I just think it's simpler for me to apply. But you actually get to review whether or not you achieve those goals. I'll read this one real quick. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. In other words, you go over everything that you said earlier in the On Awakening prayer. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? What if, you set out to do your goals, for instance, and you didn't make it to the 5 places you said you were going? You made it to 4. I mean, that's measurable. Or maybe you made it to 6 instead. I don't know. But it's literally asking, what could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? Were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. Morbid reflection means shoulda, woulda, coulda attitude. So, say you don't meet your goal that day. I don't know, man. Maybe, you have a car and you were going to go to this job interview 20 minutes away and it was a good opportunity. You got a flat tire and you didn't make it there. You call the place up. Is your day a complete failure? No, you called the boss there. Hey, guy, I got a flat tire. I'll send you a picture, sir. I hope you'll give me another chance at an interview. You know what I'm saying? Things pop up in life. Is that your fault? Like, don't sit back on worry, remorse, morbid reflection. How do you handle it moving forward? After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness, inquire what corrective measures should be taken. I love that part. Corrective measures. So, very simply put, and that's what I love about the big book, to your point, Tom, people don't realize how practical it is. It literally just laid us out a format for setting goals in the morning and then reviewing whether or not we made them at night. But people don't think about it like that. Like you were just saying, oh, if I hear it coming out of the big book, it's some gibberish about giving your life up to a higher power. It's very practical.
Well, and yeah, the thing is that there's, if that reading was in, say, a John Maxwell book, people would buy millions of copies of that book, you know? And I love John Maxwell. I have his book right behind me. But for whatever reason, sometimes people think, well, it's out of the big book, and Alcoholics Anonymous is a cult. And so therefore I'm not going to utilize that. But I think that's very practical stuff. And I think that, you know, Jacob or anybody else out there, this is that you don't have to be an alcoholic to do that. I mean, that's a very tried and true method of achieving goals. And the thing is that you chip away at these. And if you do this if we look at like micro goals versus macro, of course, everybody should have macro goals. What are those? 5 years from now, I want to own a home. 10 years from now, I want to live in Fiji. I don't know. Make whatever it is that you want. But in order to attain those macro goals, you have to attain the micro goals. And the micro goals are attained by doing stuff like that. I'm a big fan, and I don't do it as much now, but I used to. I used to put sticky notes all over my mirror. You know what I mean? With just like little,
You were one of those in the halfway house?
No, I didn't do it at the halfway. It was after. It was like between halfway and meeting my wife. Vision boards, I think, are really useful tools. If you want, a 35-foot Hydrosport boat with, 400 motors on it, print a copy of that off the internet and cut it out and post it to a vision board. Whatever it is, goals are extremely, extremely important, but you can't let go of the sobriety piece. And the last thing I'll say in terms of goals, because I do want to cover what he said with mental health. Again, the community. I can't tell you how many times I have seen people have goals for themselves that they achieve by meeting the right person. Patrick Bet-David, love the guy, down in Fort Lauderdale, huge podcast, Valuetainment. I was down at an event one night, a couple months ago, and he said something that I'll never forget. And I don't know if he took it from somebody else. He said, you're one relationship away from your whole life changing. And that couldn't be any more true. You know what I mean? That's why we talk so much about the steps are great, meetings are great, service work is great, all these things are great, halfway house is great, treatment's great, all that. But the community, in my opinion, is of utmost importance. Like, you can go, Ben, if you just met somebody and you said, hey, I'm new to sobriety, will you take me through the steps? And he took you through the steps, but simultaneously you isolated in your apartment. You didn't go out. You didn't meet anybody. You didn't talk to anybody. You just sat at home.
Yeah, I'm pretty done for.
It doesn't work. No. That's like, same with service commitments. You can go pour as many cups of coffee as you want and break down all the chairs and mop the floors and do all the things. But if you don't talk to people while you're doing those things, which is what it's there for, you have nothing. So part of this whole process is building community, networking with people, letting them know what your goals are, whatever those could be. Hey, I was in powerlifting and I had a goal of squatting 400 pounds. I would have never been able to do that if I didn't tell somebody I wanted to be able to squat 400 pounds, and that person helped me get to the point of squatting 400, and I squatted 465. Damn it.
Alex Uslar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex Uslar, Ghost Gym Miami.
That's something this is something where I'll give Tom a lot of credit. And I've given him credit for this before. This is like, in my opinion, probably your biggest strength. That's why you harp on community so much, because I've watched it be so pivotal in your life, where you are constantly introducing yourself to new people. You're like, oh, if I don't reach out to this person, you never know. And me, like, I'm like, Tom's like begging me to reach out to people all the time. Yeah, I'll get there.
Ben, you are the relationship keeper, and I'm the relationship maker.
That's accurate.
And the thing is, I will make, and you know who I'm finding out is just like this?
Which side?
Me.
Yeah, who?
Brad Jensen. This guy, I can't get on the phone for the life of me.
Oh, yeah.
He just he texted me a couple nights ago and said, you need to fire me as a friend. And I'm like, dude, I get it. I'm the same exact way. But no, you're right. And I think that because it served me well. And honestly, every goal that I have ever achieved has been a result of somebody helping me get there.
But then too, here's the thing, like if you put it full circle, like me knowing that that's not my strength, I've surrounded myself with you.
Right.
It's your strength. You would lose all your relationships if I wasn't around. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, I get that. I mean, that's accurate.
Like, find people in your life that bring to the table where you know you're short, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good team.
Fill the gaps.
Exactly.
He did, and I do want to bring this up.
You said something about mental health.
Yeah, I had some thoughts on this. Shoot, now I lost it. Ways to win the daily mental game. So when, again, assuming that you're in early recovery, the mental game, it's a very broad statement. What do you mean? Do you have anxiety, depression, PTSD? I mean, I don't know what mental game you're in, but what you referenced, page 86 of the big book, I think is very practical.
Did you see my reel I did the other day on depression?
Kinda.
That's all right. It was a long one, actually. I had to make it a post because it went over a minute and a half.
Right.
I'm learning these things.
YouTube Shorts, by the way, just up their shorts to 3 minutes now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we don't really post on YouTube Shorts, but we need to.
But anyway, when I hear mental game, I made a reel the other day, and I was thinking, I got some coaching, and like I did the 4 points. I said four weapons I use to battle my depression or something. So when I think mental game, my mind goes to my depression. And if that's what Jacob's asking, here's the 4 things that I do. A, I get myself moving. I made sure, like, I was super depressed one night, and that's what the reel was about. And I'm like, in the morning, I'm getting up early. And I did. I was at the gym at 6 a.m. And I'm usually not a morning workout person.
You did legs that day.
Did I?
Yeah, because you posted it.
Oh.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me get this workout in as soon as possible. Because what do you say? Mental clarity? Mental something?
The mental game.
Yeah. So anyway, getting those endorphins going, I'm mentally sharper. It gets me out of my rut. The other part was communicating with people. Like, I can't assume that people are going to know how I feel. I have to communicate that. And that came off of a phone call with somebody that you know. I won't say who, but called me and is like, because this is someone that from the outside really has their life put together. And they called me, we're really close, and we could talk to each other about anything. And he's like, nobody notices that I'm hurting right now, and I shouldn't have to tell them. And I'm like, dude, from the outside, even me looking at you, you've got everything together.
I know this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no concern about you as an outsider looking in. You're responsible for communicating that.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know that you're hurting when it looks like, dude, you got it all together in so many ways? Sobriety, financially, family, it got great reputation, etc. So communicate. 1, get active. 2, communicate. The third one was knowing that God has a plan. Like if I'm in some sort of pain or things aren't going my way or for some reason circumstances outside of my control, I didn't meet my goal, just know, hey, man, God must have a plan. I've made it this far. Rely on faith a little bit. What was my fourth one? Now I'm drawing a blank, dude. I had it at the tip of my tongue.
Well, I don't know. Now I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. The fourth one. Also know that I need to get my shit done because there's people depending on me today. There may be people that love me or they need me, right? And the example that I used was my kids. That's a very easy one. But also people like, for instance, on this platform, like me utilizing my experience to help people. If I just disappear and don't take care of what I need to take care of, how am I going to help anybody? How am I going to share my message? How am I going to share the way that I get through my daily problems or the mental struggles that I have? So taking it and utilizing that, hey, I mentally struggle today. Let me try and help somebody else with that. And it's empowering.
Which is the 12 step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are my 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think based off that, if we're going to keep it in realm of AA, step 11 and step 12 is going to be your best defense or the best way to play the mental game.
Yeah.
Prayer, meditation, and then helping others. And it doesn't even have to be through or another alcoholic. I mean, it can be, there's people out there on Instagram and stuff that, they post all this stuff about do one good deed a day for somebody that you don't know, that you never met. Smile at somebody. It sounds super cheesy, super corny, and I don't do it all the time.
I haven't shared this in a long time. I thought this was so cheesy, dude. I had 3 years sober, and I'd gotten a new sponsor because mine had relapsed. And this sponsor, I was kind of having like a little rough go of it for a couple months. Just life was challenging. And he said to me, he's like, I want you to set 3 alarms in your phone. 1 in the morning, 1 in the middle of the day, 1 in the afternoon. And every time that alarm goes off, I want you to stop what you're doing and go give somebody a compliment. I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm like, my response to him initially was, dude, it's not even going to be sincere. I'm doing it because it's an alarm. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, do it anyway. I did that anyway. And the funny thing about it, call it coincidence, call it what, I don't believe in coincidences at this point, but like every time I would get frustrated, that stupid alarm would go off. I'd be like, something's going on in my day, and then I'm like, dang it, I got to go find someone and give them a compliment. So I'd go get up from my desk, go look around and be like, something simple. Hey, man, I really like those shoes.
It's funny. That's what I was thinking.
You like my shoes?
No, that's what I was in. Our shoes kind of match today.
Oh, yeah. Mine are almost red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue, baby.
I don't have blue. Do I have blue?
America.
No, those are black.
America.
But the point is like you were saying, the return on doing something like that.
Yeah.
At first, it wasn't sincere in my mind. But when I started to see the benefit, it became sincere. It was me having the willingness to take the suggestion where the real growth was. It wasn't even the suggestion itself. I thought the suggestion was stupid. But I found power within just having the willingness to take that suggestion. And look what happened. It turned out being beneficial for me.
There you go. Well, if you want to have a question answered by us, go on to our Facebook group, the Sobriety Network, and post it, and we will answer it, hopefully.
What if somebody wants to get in real depth with us?
What do you mean? If they want to?
Yeah, go to realrecoverytalk.com, Tom.
realrecoverytalk.com, Tom, and go to the services page. If they want to have a full hour to converse with one of us, you could do that on realrecoverytalk.com/services. It ain't free, but, there's only 24 hours in a day, Ben.
Yeah.
We got, things to do, people to help. And you can go to realrecoverytalk.com/guides. We have a whole plethora of guides there that you can download and fill them out, and then go to the homepage. And if you just want to chat with us for 10 minutes, you can schedule a call. That's free. Just go to realrecoverytalk.com, and on the homepage, there's a little link that says schedule a call. So you put your email in and sign up. You pick a time. It lets us know, and we hop on a call. Any plans for the weekend?
Weston has football playoffs this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Man, this weekend got jammed up. I'm going to have to sacrifice in some areas. My good friend Adam is competing in his first bodybuilding show ever. He's doing physique. He's been sending me his check-in pictures all week in his posing practice. Adam, shout out to you, dude. You look phenomenal. He's got like the veins in his abs and everything, dude. He looks great.
Oh, nice.
So he's got that on Saturday. Also, dude, we have family weekend this weekend. And Weston has his football playoffs. For those that maybe haven't been listening long, did I mention on the podcast that
he busted his arm?
Yeah, very, very first day of high school. He's a freshman. He was playing football at practice, snapped his arm in half. Well, he got back 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's played 3 games now back. Fortunately, he had 3 games within 2 weeks because they had a makeup game. So he's back out on the field, but his team ended up being 7-1. They took home the league championship, but now they have playoffs this weekend and the Super Bowl the following weekend.
What position is he?
He's been playing on his go-to, where he's amazing, linebacker. Him playing middle linebacker, and then also on offense, they've had him on the line. He's just a beast, dude.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
What's he weigh now?
Dude, guess.
You said it. 190 pounds?
He was 191 the other day.
That's crazy.
Bro, my kid is thick. And he's not chunky either. I don't know, I'm Mexican. I don't know where his mom's from Minnesota, so he's got this corn-fed.
Yeah, he's just stocky. He's big boned, as they would say. But that's a myth.
What's a myth?
Big boned.
Oh, you don't really have big bones?
No. No, you don't. Everybody used to tell me I'm big boned, and then it wasn't until recently I realized, no, I don't. I'm just fat.
I mean,
no,
do you know that for a fact? People may actually be born with different sized bones genetically.
No, it's real. I saw it on Instagram.
Oh,
yeah,
it must be real.
Somebody said it on Instagram. But no, I mean, some people wear it differently, and he's just one of those kids. He's got a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
It's not, he wears it well. He's dense.
He is very dense, dude. Him and I, father and son have gotten into some squabbles, like wrestling wise. He's at that age, and I'm not going to lie, dude. There's been a couple times where I'm like, dude, do I have to turn it on 100%?
Yeah.
And because he is strong.
That's how I am with Levi. I mean, it's Levi's to the point now where, I mean, obviously he's 9 or gonna be 9, but he's not. I can't just snatch him up like I used to.
Yeah. Weston caught me off guard a couple times, dude, when we've been wrestling and just messing around. And I'll go 50%. I'm like, oh crap, I need to go 90%.
Yeah, Yeah.
And as dad, you're like, man, my kid's catching up, dude.
Right. Yeah, that's why I got to go down and hit that gym. We're going to Disney again this weekend.
Every weekend?
Once a month. Normally.
It is about once a month.
Yeah, it's Amanda's birthday Friday. So we're going to go out to dinner Friday night and then wake up Saturday morning and head up.
Let me get your take on this. Disney food has gone downhill.
It's crap.
It was good. Prior to 2020 and COVID? Disney food was my favorite part of Disney.
Depends on where you go. The restaurants are halfway decent. Some restaurants are a lot better than others. Epcot restaurants are really good, but they're known for food, so it has to be good. But like Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood.
See, even Animal Kingdom back in the day, the food was great.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like...
Everything's gone downhill, man.
We take our own pretty much. Like, we'll take peanut butter and jellies, freeze them overnight. We got a whole system.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you freeze them?
Put them in the freezer.
No, why?
Oh, why? Because we don't take a cooler, so we just make them the night before, freeze them, and then by the time they're ready to eat them at like 10, 11, 12, they're thawed out and they're somewhat cold.
Cool and refreshing PBJ. I like
Yeah.
Because I like keeping my peanut butter in the fridge. Do you keep your peanut butter in the fridge?
No.
So I got out of the habit of it back with the ex. She used to keep hers in a cupboard. So I'm like, I always wanted it in the fridge. And she was like, that's so annoying because you can't spread it right.
Right.
But dude, cold peanut butter's refreshing.
Do you put the jelly on first or the peanut butter?
I knew this question was coming because this was on Mind Pump.
A whole debate. Yeah.
I forget what they said. I put the peanut butter on first.
Most people do, but it makes more sense to put the jelly on first.
Explain. I think I remember.
Because if you put the peanut butter on first and then you put the knife or whatever in the jelly, now you're just getting a bunch of peanut butter crap in your jelly.
So like you could wipe off the jelly on the bread better than the peanut butter.
Yeah.
See, but I don't care.
Me neither. Me neither.
And what flavor jelly or jam?
I'm a strawberry.
Strawberry all the way, dude.
Yeah. I don't do grape.
I
Grape's
do not
gross.
do grape.
Apricot is good.
Blackberry's good.
Never had blackberry.
Blackberry's one of my go-to.
My grandma used to make homemade jam. Smuckers, they ain't got shit on Granny's.
I like Smuckers.
All that high fructose corn syrup.
I don't think I've ever had homemade jam. Any listeners out there, you want to mail me some homemade jam? I'm down.
Yeah. Pack it in some dry ice. We'll always take, samples. Just don't poison us. So, all right, Ben. Well, that was fun. Anything else?
No, that was fun, Tom.
All right. That is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.